Elite Facts presents
7 strange facts about voodoo you need to hear.
7.
Snakes play a big role in voodoo culture. One of the things most associated with voodoo culture, besides the use of voodoo dolls, is the use of the snake. Now, although you might think that this is just a tactic of fear used by those who embrace the culture, the snake is actually an important symbol in the mythos of voodoo. So, for those of you who've watched 007 Live and Let Die, you might want to re-educate yourselves on the culture. Damballa, or Danballa, is the serpent god and the oldest of the voodoo pantheon. He is said to have been the one to create the world. Damballa created the water from his shed skin and the stars in the sky from his coils. He is married to Aida Widu, the rainbow, in an eternal love that represents the balance between the male and the female. He represents wisdom and the mind, and is associated with symbols like the color white, eggs, bones, and ivory. The protector of the helpless and young children, as well as the handicapped and the deformed, he is said to transport the souls of the dead to the afterlife. Priests and priestesses can be possessed by the spirit of Damballa, and they do not speak. Instead, they hiss.
6.
Advanced healing techniques. On the surface, thanks to mainstream media, most people associate the voodoo culture with the dark side, thus thinking that people who live this culture only have evil intentions. But that couldn't be any further from the truth. Most of voodoo centers around healing and herbalism. One of the most important reasons for summoning a spirit in a voodoo ritual is to ask for aid in healing the sick and the injured. Healing is a spiritual idea as well as a physical one, and practitioners can focus on healing a broken heart or changing a person's luck for the better, as well as healing the body.
5.
Communicating with spirits. Communication with lesser spirits, known as Iwa, and to the invisible world is done through prayer, animal sacrifice, and drum and dance ceremonies. They ask advice, learn from their experience, and connect with them on a spiritual level. 4. 3 different types of voodoo. So surprisingly, there's actually 3 different types of voodoo cultures in the world, each with their own different influences. West African voodoo is arguably the one that's closest to the original form and is currently practiced by around 30 million people to this very day. Places where this type of voodoo has the largest number of practitioners include Ghana and Benin. Due to the relatively closeted socioeconomic scenario in the places where it's practiced, the rituals and beliefs are of a largely indigenous nature. The second type of voodoo that's practiced is in Louisiana in the USA, and it's called, unsurprisingly, Louisiana voodoo. Even though derived from West African voodoo, it is also influenced by certain practices inspired by Spanish and French settlers. Now, putting aside Louisiana, there are several other states that are tied to voodoo culture. You'll find practitioners of the magic in a few other southeastern states in the U.S. as well. Haitian voodoo is the third kind. Practiced in Haiti, it incorporates French and Christian influences.
3.
Practicing voodoo is fine with the Catholic Church. Now, considering how it's portrayed by mainstream media outlets and the fact that most people mistake the culture as being one linked to the dark side, you would think the Christian religion would be completely against it. But surprisingly, it's widely accepted by the Catholic Church. This was made most clear when Pope John Paul II, who acknowledged the, quote, fundamental goodness in the practices and teachings of voodoo, attended a voodoo ceremony in 1993. The Church's lenient view towards the cult was evolved with the aim of building an amicable relationship between Christians and others in Africa, the birthplace of voodoo.
2.
There is no distinction between black and white voodoo. The too convenient demarcation of voodoo is white equals good and black equals bad. But the truth is, there is no such distinction in voodoo. In fact, when an evil spirit is conjured by a person with malevolent intentions, it's called red magic, because as soon as the practitioner's body is possessed by an evil spirit, his or her eyes turn red.
1.
3-tiered structure for spirits. Akin to Christianity, the voodoo pantheon also has 3 levels. On the very top of this pantheon, as you'd probably expect, is the single god. Below this then comes loathed spirits that actually interact with those of us who are currently living. At the same level are the spirits of a person's deceased relatives and ancestors. The final tier is constituted by the mortals. The howling of the wolf has died, the dancing has stopped, the sound that remains is that of a wind ruffling the leaves of a treetop. And humans, they are out of their weird garbs and the masks that hide their faces from the world. Voodoo, as it is. Voodoo, in its undisguised form, a mixture of devotion, superstition, and an earnest struggle to make sense of man's life as part of nature, in many ways like any other religion. And that's our list. Did we leave any out that you know about? Let us know in the comments below, and please remember to subscribe and tap the bell button to be notified when new videos are uploaded. Thanks for watching.
Don't forget to like us and subscribe for more elite facts.